Welcome everyone to Charlotte Motor Speedway in Charlotte, North Carolina, as the Castrol GTX Cup Series is on the track right now. And what you actually see on the track right now is practice for the Winston Open is what we're seeing here today. Yes, it is All-Star race time at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And what we're going to have here today is Winston All-Star race qualifying. Now, of course, the All-Star Open qualifying has already been set. With Keith Batson taking the pole in that race, and several big names in the All-Star Open, by the way, too. Not just Keith Batson, but also guys like Joshua Collar, Dylan Young, Seth Cole, Jesse Turner, Mike Becker, and several others that are going to be trying to bump their way into the All-Star race itself. The top 5 qualifiers of the Winston Open will be the ones making the show into the Winston All-Star race here. So this is the last chance, this is the last ditch ever for those two guys. And of course, one driver just now went by, Phil Parker. That's another big name that's yet to be in the All-Star race itself. So a grand total of about 30. So a grand total of about 30 cars will be in the All-Star Open. And of course, 11 cars are qualified for the All-Star race today, and that's the ones that are going to be qualifying for the Winston All-Star race here tonight, as I should say. So, of course, the All-Star qualifying format, as you might imagine, it's to make a warm-up lap around this track. Then on your first lap, then as you have to complete the first lap, come on the pit road, make a pit stop, and complete your second lap. That's the way the qualifying is gonna work out. So if the lap times are slower than usual, then, well, there you go. Your first lap should be the quickest one of the two, obviously, so we'll see what happens here. So with all that said, here the first car up to qualify right now is Rob Evans, the number 12 Mobil 1 Ford, as he is the first car to qualify. Now, how this is going to come out there, we're going to have cars that has drivers who are in the All-Star race by drivers who have won races this year that are not champions of this series qualify first. So that is to say, Rob Evans, by him being the Daytona 500, will be the first up to qualify. Then Matt Haas, who won Rockingham, will be the second car up to qualify. And then Cav Shearer, who won at Martinsville, will be the third car up to qualify. And then the champions take over from the first champion down to the previous champion of the series. That's how we're going to do it. And of course, they'll all make pit stops as this whole thing goes on. There you see Rob Evans on his first lap right now. He'll come on the pit road to make a pit stop. He'll slow down on pit road right there. See how fast see how he goes down pit road. He makes it there perfectly. Now, there's no speed limit on pit road in this situation, neither. So you can go down as fast as you can. But of course, a lot of people want to slow down to make it on the pit road when they can. First lap for Rob Evans by way of 155.066. That's of course how fast the qualifying. His first lap is coming down pit road. So, as we said, the first lap will usually be your quickest one of the two. And the pit stop by way of 14.9 seconds. That's the pit stop for Rob Evans, and he'll make it back on the racetrack to finish up his second lap. Now, there will be a lap average determination by way of 2 out of the 2 laps. So, that was to say, obviously, also, the ones that have the quickest lap average of the 2 will get the pole for the All-Star race itself. And Rob will come off to number 4 right now. He'll come to the start-finish line to complete the second lap. His second lap will obviously be slower, and by slow I mean 90.954 miles per hour. But for now, it does put Rob Evans on the pole for today's event, for the All-Star race so far, but there's still 10 cars left to go. And that lap average, by the way, for Rob Evans is 123.01 miles per hour. And that's going to be the lap for Matt Haas to be. He's the second car up the qualify. The man who won at Rockingham this season in the GM Goodrich Service 400. He brings the Bobby Labonte cars off turn number 4. He'll start the first lap of this race. The pit stop, by the way, for Rob Evans, we mentioned 14.9 seconds. So that could play a role as far as the second lap time is concerned. because as I said, it's an average lap time that's gonna be the tail of the tail as far as the qualifying is concerned. There's the Haas making away to turns 3 and 4. He'll try to he'll safely make his way on the pit road, drops off the banking as he'll come on the pit road. Again, no speed limit, so he can haul butt down pit road and send it, if you know what I mean. Here comes Haas, and he carefully makes his way through pit road, trying not to overshoot his stall. And of course, that's the one thing you do not want to do on the pit road situation is overshoot your stall, let alone also give your crew not much room to work. Pit stop looks pretty good so far for Matt Haas. His first lap, 156.273, so it's faster than the first lap set by Rob Evans. The pit stop, 14.5 seconds for Matt Haas. So, things looking good so far. Does not slip off pit road, off the exit of pit road. So let's see what happens here. First lap, look, as I said, it was quicker than the first lap for Rob Evans, and let's see what he goes into turn number 3. Looks pretty good at this point. Off turn 4 goes Matt Haas. He'll come across the start-finish line. Second lap is 89.149 miles per hour, and that will average to a lap of 122.711 miles per hour. So Matt Haas just misses on the pole, but he'll start second for the moment. Here at Charlotte, and does a little swerving down the backstretch here. So Matt Haas, I'm sure a little disappointed on his second lap, though, especially after the good pit stop his crew gave him. So that will put Matt Haas currently second place on the board right now, and bringing up the track right now is Kev Shearer, car 36, the M&M's Pontiac. Won the season at Martinsville this season, or should I say, pretty much dominated Martinsville in that event, led all 75 laps in that event. As he brings the M&M's number 36 on the racetrack right now, as he takes the first lap. Lap average to beat so far, 123.01 miles an hour, set by Rob Evans. Off turn number 2, looks pretty good at the moment here. He'll see what his entrance to the pit road will be. In the turn 3, the car now slowing down just a little bit. Here is again on the pit road he goes. Now it decides to now it slows down for the pit stall, and again remember not to overshoot the pit there, which he unfortunately did. So Shearer has to back up the car, and unfortunately he forgot he had in forward gear instead of reverse, and now he makes it on the pit road. And a shame too, because that was a good first lap he put up, 158.172 on the first lap. Pit crew goes to work on that car, and down the way 14.5 seconds, which equals what Matt Haas did on his pit stop. But that, unfortunately, overshooting the pit's going to cost him on his time. Unfortunately, he's going to have to really send it on this second lap to try to have a shot at the pole. But it's not likely he will. So Kev Shearer, I guess you might say, to put it in his own words, triggered after that whole deal. But qualifying, as we said before, does not mean a thing in some ways. You know, it's how you do in the race, and of course, off to number 4 he goes, and I'm sure that lap's going to be somewhere in the low 80 mile an hour range, mid 80 mile an hour range. Let's put it that way, 84.276. His lap averaged 121.224 miles an hour. So Kev Shearer, unfortunately for him, third quickest out of the 3 cars that's qualified. So costly performance there for Kev Shearer, as he is especially after a good pit stop that his bunch put up. Now we go to the first champion of the Castrol GTX Cup Series, Dylan Poteet. He pushed his ticket in by not only being the champion of the series, but also being a winner this season at Bristol, Tennessee, in the Food City 500. Poteet, we know, always usually has a fast car, and no matter what series he runs in the NNSCRA. Driving the number 22 Caterpillar Pontiac, the Ward Button colors from 1999. Poteet's screaming his way into turn number 3 now, and he has to start. He has to start braking for the pit road here. Drops it onto the bank and slides just a slight bit, come off the fourth turn. And now moves his way towards his pit stall here. Actually makes a beeline for it. Not to be careful not to overshoot his pit, and he does not do so. And that first lap was really good. 1:59.556, and that's the fastest first lap we've seen all race so far, all qualifying so far. Posty's standing a real good shot of getting the pole for the Winston here. Let's see what happens at pit stop. The slowest of the bunch, by the way, too. 15.1 seconds for Poteet on his pit stop. So let's see what the second lap's going to end up being here. I mean, I think the first lap may be a pretty good one here. The first lap we've seen so far was the fastest second lap we've seen so far was a 90.954 set by Rob Evans, who currently holds the pole right now. Excuse me. We'll check up on Milliella here. Off to number 4 he comes here, and Poteet's second lap, and it's pole 91.121 on the second lap. And that's going to be a pole-winning run for a pole-sitting run so far for sure. His average lap 125.338. So Dylan Poteet knocks Rob Evans off the pole for the moment. But still got 7 cars left to go to qualify for the season 23 Winston. So exiting pit road right now is the number 99 XRS SKF4, driven by Ward Burton's brother Jeff back in 1999. And that, of course, driven this season by Joshua Osborne, the season 2 champion of the Castrol GTX Cup Series, also won the championship in seasons 16 and 19, believe it or not. So he is a 3-time champion in the series. As they come out to number 4, Osborne also won the season at North Wilkesboro in the First Union 400. Takes his Ford off in the turn number 1 here as they go through, as Osborne runs his first lap of this race here. The quickest first lap we've seen so far was by the pole-sitting run Dylan Poteet at 1:59.556. And you know Osborne would like to either duplicate or whatever it is. But here he comes off turn number 4. He comes on the pit road. Takes it there very leisurely, and then as a slow first lap for Osborne, 1:54.445. So you know his crew likely to come up with a good pit stop, about like what we saw out of the pit crews of Matt Haas and Kev Shearer. Pit stop completed for Osborne. They cleaned the grill on that number 99 Ford, and here he comes off pit road. 14.7 seconds for Osborne, so good stop for him, but unfortunately that first lap, I think that first lap didn't really look all that slow, to be honest, there for Osborne, but I could be wrong on that. He'd like to have a second lap somewhere in the 90-mile-an-hour range, because that's pretty much what you need to run it on a second lap. Osborne off to number 4 looks pretty good at the moment. Off to number 4 he comes, second lap for him. And the second lap is only, and I say only, 89.806 miles an hour. That will complete the average lap for Osborne, 122.125 miles an hour. So he is the next to the so he's the second slowest of the bunch right now. He is 4th out of the 5 cars that's qualified so far. So as Osborne, I'm sure not really pleased with that run, I'm sure, but we'll see what the other cars will do as he brings his Ford on the pit road. And on the racetrack right now is the number 25 Budweiser Chevrolet, the man who won the championship in Season 8 in the Castrol GTX Cup Series, Johnny Gardner, the number 25 Budweiser Chevrolet. He also won a race this season that came at Talladega Super Speedway in Talladega, Alabama. As Gardner is the 6th to the last car to qualify, we have 5 cars left to go after this one. He is the 6th car up right now. Going through turns 1 and 2 he goes here on his first lap. Looks pretty good right now, and according to our tracker, about mirroring what Poteet did on his first lap. So let's see what happens here. Gardner makes his way through turns 3 and 4. He goes and drops it on the pit road, making sure to get a decent entry in the pit road, which it looks like he did right here. Taking the same lane we saw Joshua Osborne make his way through on the last car up. 158.549 on his first lap, so that's slower than what Poteet ran on his first lap. But it's the second quickest first lap we've had so far, so Gardner may have a shot, possibly, if the pit crew can get the job done here. 4 tire change like everybody else has got right now. And Gardner makes it on the off the pit road. 15 seconds flat on his stop. So Gardner didn't quite get the 14s like we saw. Well, actually, it was only second 15 seconds like we had. So the 15.0 was quicker than the 15.1 we saw by Poteet's crew. So again, Gardner looks like he may have a shot here if he can get the second lap somewhere about in the realm of what Poteet or Osborne may have, or not Osborne, Poteet or his buddy Rob Evans kind of did. Gardner's second lap on his run, 89.389 miles an hour. So Gardner's second quickest at the moment here, with a lap average of 123.969 miles an hour. So Johnny Gardner's second quickest at the moment in All-Star qualifying. So that will bring up Chris Dollerton right now, car number 60, the Power Team Chevrolet, the Season 10 champion of this series. Dollerton punched his ticket in by winning 2 races this season. He won at Darlington, and he also won at California Speedway this season. So Dollerton, strong run on the Power Team Chevrolet car number 60 as they come to the start-finish line. Dollerton starts his first lap. His way this team's going right now, they're definitely a possible championship contender this season for sure. Of course, there's still a lot of races left to go. A total of 22 races, in fact. Actually, a total of 23 races, in fact. Excuse me. Dollerton makes his way off pit road as he comes on the pit road, I should say. Dollerton making a beeline toward the pit road here. 159.91 miles per hour, fastest first lap of the session so far. And see if his pit crew can deliver as they make their 4-tire stop. 4 tires, splash of gas on this machine. And that pit stop for Dollerton, little bit slow. 15.1 for Chris Dollerton. And to make matters worse for him, it slides off pit road. Tires spun, I should say, coming off the exit of pit road, which that is common sometimes, obviously, with these cars. You come off pit road and you slide the tires just a little bit and get a little bit of buildup on it. Let's see what Dollerton's second lap is going to be. Remember, Poteet's lap's the time to be at 125.338 for the pole. That's for a lap average in his second lap for Dollerton. Let's see what it is. That lap time, second lap, 90.653 miles per hour. That's in the second lap. Actually, lap average, I should say, just a slight bit short, 125.281 for Chris Dollerton. So he is second quickest at the moment here at Charlotte. 5 cars left to go there are 4 cars left to go, I should say, for qualifying. So Dollerton's lap second quickest right now, and here comes one of the 4 threats to Dylan Poteet's pole position here. That is Jessica Shelton, the number 94 McDonald's Ford, the 4-time series champion in this series. Her first title came way back in season 11 in this series, as she comes off turn number 4. Shelton did get a win this season. That came at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and she also followed that up with a win at the last race on the tour at Sonoma, California on the first road course stop of the season, where, to no one's surprise, she dominated that event. Through turns 3 and 4 she goes, and she'll head on the pit road to make her pit stop. And she'll bring the car to the attention of her McDonald's crew here. 159.011 is her first lap. Makes it on the pit road safely. Let's see what her pit road, if her pit road can deliver on this pit stop here. That first lap, pretty decent as a matter of fact too. I think so. Should earn her a top 5 spot if things go well. And that pit stop the slowest of the bunch. So that's a 15.4 on Shelton's stop. Comes through turns 1 and 2 on her second to complete her second lap of this race of this session. Into turn number 3 she comes here. Let's see what happens here. Off turn number 4 goes Shelton. Almost gets the wall come off turn number 4 and keeps her foot in it. And 89.951 miles an hour on her second lap. So that tallies to an average lap of 124.481 miles per hour. So Jessica Shelton, third quickest of the moment, with 3 cars left to go in qualifying. So that would now bring up the number 42 Bellside Mobility Chevrolet of Charles Sanford, the number in the season 15 champion of this series here. Even though he's not yet won a race this season, though, so far in season 23, though he's still in this race by virtue of being the champion in this series, is what I was meaning to say. Nice blue and multicolored scheme on this machine here. It's a excuse me. This is a Sabco Racing piece he is driving. Kind of weird to see somebody else besides Kyle Metz driving the 42 car, but of course since this is not a Mellow Yellow car, I guess you might say it's allowed. But anyway, Sanford coming off the banking on the pit road to complete his first lap here as he makes his way safely on pit road. And look at that first lap, 160.504 for Charles Sanford on his first lap. He'll carefully make his way on the pit road. Carefully makes it in his pit stall. The lap average to beat is 125.338 set by Dylan Poteet. That's the lap average to beat. And the pit stop, 14.6 seconds for Charles Sanford. So good stop for Sanford as he comes back on the pit road, comes back on the racetrack, excuse me. Second lap, we've seen all the more critical right here. We've seen second laps in the 90-mile-an-hour range, and Charles hopes for something like that to bring his average up to somewhere he hopes would be close to, if not the pole, for him. Off turn number 4 he comes. Sanford drives it off the 4th turn. He comes onto the start-finish line. Checkered flag out. 90.837 on his second lap. And the lap average is good enough for the pole. 125.670 miles per hour. So for the moment, Charles Sanford on the pole for the Winston All-Star race so far with 2 cars remaining. So 2 cars left remaining in this qualifying session here, and this is one of the 2. Kyle Matthews, the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet, winner of the season at Richmond, Virginia, with the Jeff Gordon colors here. 2-time series champion, season 20, and he also won it again last season, season 22, where he dominated the entire series last season. And Matthews so far off to a good start to the season yet again. Not the points leader this time, but he is right up there in contention as he usually is in this series. But down the backstretch goes the rainbow-colored Chevrolet as they go through turns 3 and 4. Matthews will slow down to make his way on the pit road. Slows down rather slow, but still makes it. But still had to get in there safely and not miss the track, which luckily nobody has yet. By the way, we will say that. Here he comes on the pit road. Here he comes on the pit stall for the stop. Quickest pit stop we've seen so far is a 14.5 set by both Matt Haas and Cab Shearer's teams. See what the Rainbow Warriors can do for Kyle Matthews here as a four-tire stop. Looks good so far. Ooh, and he is not going to like that stop. 15.7 for Kyle Matthews. That is the slowest of the stops we had. Bet you're going to be practicing stops there from here on out, I would imagine. So Matthews, not the stop he wanted before that second lap. They're hauled through that third and fourth turns. He wants to get a shot at the pole here as he comes off turn number 4. Fastest second lap we've seen was a 91.121 set by Dylan Poteet, and nowhere near that 89.542 on the second lap for Kyle Matthews. And that's going to be a lap average of 124.535 miles an hour. So Kyle Matthews, nonetheless, though, is in the top 5. He's actually locked the top 5 spot, believe it or not. Locked into the top 5, I should say, in 4th position at the moment. 1 car left remaining. So the last car on the track. Brings you a little bit of nostalgia here. So the last car on the track brings you a little bit of nostalgia here at Charlotte Motor Speedway here as Cole Deaver, the special paint scheme, the GM Goodwrench Service Chevrolet. And guess what? It is painted like the old Dale Earnhardt Wrangler colors right here from 1987 when the year he did the pass in the grass at Charlotte. A very iconic moment, I will say for sure, in this sport. Here, no question about it. This is a one-time scheme he is going to run here in this season here, obviously here at Charlotte as he comes off the pit road. But Travis is getting jumpy. Apologies for that. He'll come on the pit road right now for his pit stop here. The last car to qualify, the pole. And the first lap for Deaver, 158.992, and the average lap to beat is 125.670, set by Charles Sanford. We'll see if Deaver can beat it or not here as the pit stop happens here for him. 4 tires and a splash of gas for the Wrangler GM Goodwrench team. Down and away for Deaver. 15 seconds flat for Deaver on that pit stop. So we'll see what happens on lap 2 here. We've seen worse stops than that. Obviously, the worst stop of the day, obviously, 15.7 set by the team of Kyle Matthews and the Rainbow Warriors, the last car that was on the track before Deaver. But still netted Kyle a 4th place qualifying run for the moment. That's where he sits at the moment. See if Deaver can... See what Deaver does on the second lap there. Come across start finish line. Cole Deaver at 90.241 on the second lap. And that brings his average to 124.616 miles per hour. So that will put Deaver 4th fastest in the final qualifying order for the Winston All-Star race. The pole sitter for the day is, and the pole sitter for this season's race is Charles Sanford with the average lap of 125.670 miles an hour. And so qualifying is completed for the Winston All-Star Open at Winston All-Star Race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The All-Star Open pole, by the way, is Keith Batson, so we should mention that. But to start, all 11 cars have qualified here, and here's what the starting lineup is going to look like for the Winston All-Star Race itself. On the pole will be Charles Sanford with a lap of 125.670 average lap, that is. Starting second will be Dylan Poteet. He'll be alongside of him. The second row will find Chris Stollerton in 60 and the 3 car of Cole Deaver, who was the last car up to qualify. Third row is Kyle Matthews and Jessica Shelton. Fourth row will have Johnny Gardner and Rob Evans. Fifth row will have the 18 of Matt Haas and Joshua Osborne in 99. And as of right now, the last starter that qualified on speed, I should say, is Cab Shearer in car 36. And so that will do it here for qualifying. The last, of course, the capture will not start last in the Winston All-Star race. Mind you, the remaining cars in the field will be determined by the top 5 finishers in the Winston Open. That will determine that whole deal. So that will do it here today for the Winston All-Star Race qualifying here. If you like what you see here, be sure to subscribe to the NNSCRA Sports and Gaming channel. We got everything on this channel. We got internet races, gaming videos. We're president of the NNSCRA Seth Gold Irish for this channel. And be sure to check out the Duracell Cup Series, but what's our All-Pro Series and the Marvel Studios Cup Series as well, also from the NNSCRA. So we will see you for the Winston All-Star race festivities itself. For now, this is James Walton in production of the NNSCRA. Offline racing at its best. We will see you for the Winston All-Star race.